Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing. Listen to this. It wasn't as loud as last time, but listen. Sounds like it's gonna die down there. And yeah, I have it on a carpeted floor, and I know you're not supposed to do that, but I just took apart. I've had this PS4 Pro for about a year, at least a year, but I know dust accumulates quickly on electronics, so I just took it all apart. I cleaned the fans off, cleaned the lid on the other underside of it, all the dust. So it shouldn't have hardly any dust on it right now, and yet it's still down there, struggling, almost ready to die, the PS4 Pro, because of favor performance mode on Give Me God of War difficulty on God of War 2018. They called it the same name as the first game, to be inclusive. Hello there, Buck Benedict here. We're playing Give Me God of War difficulty on God of War 2018, and this is my walkthrough. Now you see that move right there? I really like that move. That is the complement move for the barehanded left trigger plus square move. And while I really wish I didn't have the move that I just mentioned, I wish I could unbuy it, take it off my abilities. The barehanded left trigger plus triangle move for the axe, it does a really powerful jumping attack that causes me no issues with accidental activation of it like the other move does. But I'm telling you, I really like that move, and I just am kind of worried now that that I didn't tell people in time enough about not buying that damn move, because, and I don't even know why I accidentally activated it. It's something that I'm doing, but I'm not. I've been too busy doing stuff to. I don't look down at my hands and see what exactly I'm doing. Feel free to offer your suggestions. It's probably when I'm trying to aim and do something. I really just, yeah, that's probably what it is. In fact, now thinking about it, this fight down here is kind of egregious too for the situation of what this is. Actually, fuck. You try so well to go through a fight and not take any damage and do well and look like you know what you're doing just a little bit, and then just a whole bunch of nonsense happens. And that move right there, it's a damn good move, and it seems like it's really strong too. But there are a lot of enemies out here, and again, the thing about when I say that a fight is maybe difficult, it's obviously it's a little subjective too, but I'm also trying to tell you that I have a really high standard for myself, and when I see myself get damaged, for some reason, I seem to feel that I need to restart the checkpoint, and I don't like doing that all the time. I really don't. Now, there hasn't been a fight yet on this game that, outside of one of the Valkyrie fights, that I engaged a Valkyrie earlier. I haven't mentioned Valkyries because I don't think that I'm going to include them in the guide. There are these harder to deal with bosses called Valkyries, and I got owned to it. But outside of a Valkyrie fight, there hasn't been a situation on this difficulty where I've been like sweating over and struggling, and nothing like that. Seriously, nothing like that. Now, well, you might say, well, try not upgrading your health and rage. Try that. I won't. I'm not going to come back. There's no reason to come back to this game ever. Afterwards, I'll do if it has a good following and a liking to it, I'll cover additional things to it, but I'm not going to cover the game again. It's not worth it. I'd rather invest my time playing the other ones and doing something with the other ones, even though I think I've been able to do everything that I can with the other ones. The only one that I would really like to do Oh, I did I ever mention I've no damaged God difficulty on Chains of Olympus up until the final boss. I wasn't able to beat the final boss, but I can no damage the game on Pain Plus for Chains of Olympus. I had a whole guide no damaged up until the final boss, but I couldn't beat the final boss because on Pain Plus it's really difficult with her. She's so tanky. She takes forever to kill Persephone. That is now. And then with Pain Plusing Ghosts of Sparta, I've never devoted enough time to see what exactly I can no damage on that, but every time I try to Pain Plus Ghosts of Sparta, I always run into that fight with the Gerons that I can't do. So something is just a little bit off when you can't do a fight. You seem to remember your limitations, and all of a sudden you press forward and you charge headlong into a game, and you think that you can do it, and then something stops you. And anyway, so we have our health upgraded all the way. We're still looking for some horns of blood mead so we can wind our fucking horns. And then I'm not sure if you have to go up here, but this is the point of the video where I do go up here and engage enemies. And I wanted to show the engagement of the enemies. And I also wanted to mention that there was a nightmare fight by one of the Hell's Winds receptacles that I was not able to capture. And you're not missing anything, but it's just 2 nightmares, so that shouldn't, not let you beat the game if you can't just do 2 nightmares. But anyway, let's focus on this fight over here, because this is kind of an annoying one too. Actually, come to think of it, you definitely do have to do this fight up here. So I always have so many interesting topics. I really should write them down, because I have interesting things that I think about this game. At least they're interesting to me. So I always try to share them, but I forget what they are. So I'm gonna try in the future to write down the topics, because it's so difficult with 1,000 things running through your mind to remember a certain thing that you had on your mind right before you're falling asleep or something like that. But you do have to come up here, and there is a boss fight coming up. I've usually if a boss fight comes across the guide, I usually what I try to do is end the video with the boss fight. So and the boss fight is just really sad. Much like that, much like running up to a guy, trying to sprint up to him and press R3 and accidentally pressing the 2 triggers in, and or not the triggers, but the analogs. Now there is another option for activating the rage, and it's strange because it isn't X square like I thought it was. It's actually circle and X. So unless you do a whole bunch of key rebinding, then you've got to choose between one of those. So I'm gonna try to see how I like the face buttons to activate the rage, and see if and the only reason is because of these accidental rage activations. That's the problem. And there is a fan on over to the right side of me. So, and of course the PS4 Pro sounds like it's running a marathon down there, just trying to do this game. And I also was thinking of trying the resolution mode and getting that stable frame rate. That's what I wanted to talk about. There's a puzzle over here too. The choppiness of this frame rate, since you're trying to get the most out of the system as you can, and just leave it at 1080p is what it is. I think the favorite resolution mode is for beyond 1080p, and I have no capability to display that. But the choppiness is not pleasant. to use. I mean, the thing about it is, I'm just trying to choose one of two evils in my mind. Do I want a steady, slower frame rate, which to me looks really swimmy and floaty, and I don't like it. And I don't like the choppiness of the frame rate on favorite performance mode, but I always will favor it because to me that's the lesser of two evils. And the boss fight, oh my god, is it sad. I actually had a hard time on this boss fight because it's a strange one. The Grendels. I can't decide which fan down there is louder. I have a small little fan that makes hardly any noise, and there's a fan down here in the PS4 Pro making a lot of noise too. And it's 80 degrees in this house because the people that live here, myself accepting, don't know how to moderate the air conditioning. So I'm the only one that knows how to moderate it properly, and nobody wants my opinion of it. So yeah, I wish you could activate the rage with square and X. My good buddy Raskolnikov was commenting on the game's audio. He wanted me to increase, if I could, increase the game's audio. Now, I've had it up a little bit higher than I have it now, but I love that move too. That is almost as strong as a runic attack, guys. All you have to do is unequip the axe and then press left trigger plus triangle. It's really good. It's a damn strong move. I'm not sure of the iframe extent that it has, but it's a very strong leaping attack. Oh, here's the piece of shit boss, the Grendels. The first Grendel that comes out is the Grendel of the Ashes, and this one is the fire one, so you need to be using the Leviathan axe. But once you get him past the first little tick marker on his HP gauge, you're going to notice that his health gets refilled up to a certain extent. In fact, I was so busy doing this fight that I never really got a good chance to look at it, and I don't really have the time now to analyze it because I don't care, honestly. I know that it seems like it's some sort of a balancing act with these two guys. It's like when one of them has his health being refilled, then you need to attack the other one to compensate for the HP that the other one is getting. So taken as that, I understand that. Now these pillars down here are really obnoxious. These little spikes that they set into the ground, you don't want to be anywhere near those. And if you should find yourself near them, they will bounce you, and it's just a lot of damage that you take. So it's a simple concept, but when you're switching all of your weapons over here, it's quite exasperating, honestly, switching between all of the weapons and unequipping this one, equipping this one, and I honestly think that the bosses are they're not too bad, actually. It's just that there's just a lot of back and forth, and it's just a stupid gimmick that it's just too bad that it's in this game. I mean, I don't like these gimmick boss fights. Honestly, I don't. And if you think about it, all it is really is it's an iteration of the trolls that we've seen many a time. They're just named differently, and they have a different height to them. They're still carrying these stupid weapons over here. But the swings that he does, those can just be guarded against. But it's just one of those little wars of attrition on these bosses, and it's really too bad. And you definitely want to have the runic that refreshes the cooldown for your runics, because the main thing you want to be doing on this boss fight is just continually using your runics. You don't have a heavy runic attack for the blades yet, so with the Leviathan, that's going to give you a light and a heavy times 2, right? And then plus you can switch back to this one and you can refresh that one. So that's, to my way of thinking, that's about 6 uses of the runic. And of course, the actual runic that does the cooldown has to be refreshed through its own cooldown process. But you can do a waiting game on that. Just keep running around, and you can spec towards cooldown. But you need to get these things out of the way. They're real nuisances. They don't come after you or anything. They're just staked into the ground. But and they can destroy them too, which is nice. But I found this boss fight tiresome. Just really tiresome. And then after this boss fight, in video 16, I am going to have a lot more items, and I'm going to have done probably all the side quests available, because one of the joys of playing a game like this is to just in the downtime of these videos, just go around and have a look at the game and just enjoy the game. You know, this isn't the game that I wanted, but I have to say that it is a very fun game. And I can get bored of it kind of quickly, honestly, but at least it's a game. I'm not going to say that this is not a game, because something like this is very rare, and I think that's why it got a lot of eyes on it, is because we're actually seeing very familiar concepts just given a lot of a different spin, and it definitely deserves people's attention. I think this game does, because the things that it does on its own, like the runics and the the interactivity between you and the boy, it is quite fun, you know. But having to keep switching between the weapons over here is it's just horrible, and having to continually make sure that these things are gone, you know, and then pressing the wrong weapon and then activating L2 plus square. Know what that is now? I figured it out. It was obvious to me, but I'm trying to throw the axe when I don't have it equipped, and then what I'm doing on accident is I'm accidentally doing L2 plus square, which is that little charge move that he does with the that little light spin on it. And it's pretty bad. Plus, when these two guys have just a little bit sliver of a life, you can't even kill them. You've got to go after the other one. So it's this continual back and forth nonsense, and it is quite hard. You do them good damage, but you get dealt as much as you can deal here. So for your troubles, you're going to get a heavy runic attack, but we're going to get a bunch more just doing side quests and things like that. Thank you for watching. I hope that the boss fight isn't too troublesome for you. I just didn't enjoy it. I had a hard time on it, and I didn't like it.